Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 14th January 2024. This is a period which is celebrated as Pongal in South India and Maha Sankranti in North India. I wish all of you a very happy and prosperous Pongal and Maha Sankranti. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Hardan, 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 Haribol, TRSV, Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been talking about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. In the past few videos, we have been discussing and analyzing in detail a particular term which happens to be the name of a very important ingredient in every human living entity's lifetime, set of bodies, and psyche. This subtle form of ingredient is known as mind. We have been discussing in detail how the individual mind of every human living entity works during a lifetime, whether he or she is a male or female in this material world. In that process, we also know by now that in the multitude of living human entities, whether male or female, in a society in a particular span of a lifetime can be safely distributed into three parts. The first part consists of 75% of the common living human entities who have come here and started vegetating and rolling it over in this material nature under the pretext that this life is a gift to them by destiny and God, and that only they are expected to enjoy or suffer whatever is thrown to him by their own destiny and karma. These 75% of humanity either refuse to understand or they do not understand at all that this particular life in this society during a lifetime has a particular purpose to be achieved by every human living entity in his or her lifetime. This particular purpose is known as self realization. Self realization means to acknowledge one's true identity as a spirit soul and not as an ordinary living entity, which is the form where four layers of material body have formed a cocoon around a particular individual spirit soul. Self realization is the form of understanding what he or she truly is, and that is that he or she is just a spirit soul going through an endless chain of repeated births and deaths in material form as living entities in this lifetime in this material world. The second category happens to be consisting of 20% of human living entities. These 20% realize that they do have a purpose in life, but alas, these people are also attracted towards or gravitate towards the dark negative forces which have been in existence in this material world for times immemorial. This gravitation towards the dark negative forces again is either advertent or inadvertent by default or by design, deliberately or otherwise, knowingly or unknowingly, where once that particular living entity gets attracted to the dark negative forces, his or her karma or sanchit karma or storage of unworked karma during several lifetimes begins to accumulate so that any slice that this living entity is forced to take from that sanchit karma as prarabdha karma is based on his or her negative and dark karmas in previous lifetimes. Thus, these negative dark karmas form the foundation for his or her next birth. Due to the pains and pressures that he or she has to go through in his or her initial stages in the same lifetime. This person again gets acclimatized to the same dark negative forces, as a result of which even his or her free will or kriyamana karma becomes his or her dark negative actions and reactions in this very lifetime, making that unworked kriyamana karma as his or her agami or future karma. Thus, the unworked prarabdha karma and the unworked kriyamana karma in a lifetime of any living entity, male or female, becomes a part of his or her agami or future karma in that very lifetime. This unworked dark negative karma again gets pasted to the same sanchit karma of various types or potpourri of actions and reactions that become his or her sanchit karma. Thus, due to his or her prarabdha and kriyamana karma, the same living entity gets more and more dark negative karma as his or her prarabdha karma in his or her future karma or birth. This goes on till one day, miraculously, which is a rare, the same person realizes this and tries to withdraw from these dark negative forces and chooses to come back again to that 75%. This is the trick or trade of various lifetimes in this material world, which captures this hapless individual's spirit soul in an endless journey of repeated births and deaths. However, there is a remaining 5% of human living entities. These people belong to the elite or the cream de la cream of the society. These people have only tried to add to the Sanchit Karma positive material or spiritual karma, so much so that in every birth that they have to repeat in this lifetime, their own slice of prarabdha karma becomes positive materials or spiritual. Thus, These people have a very specific, charmed life. They are people who advertently or inadvertently realize their true self as a spirit soul and thus act accordingly. This leads these people sooner or later into the spiritual path where slowly driving towards their goal they get liberated from repeated births and deaths in this material world and finally get delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One thing is very assured: the moment a living entity enters this 5% bracket, advertently or inadvertently, he or she begins to enjoy the nectar of life in his or her lifetime or psyche. So much so that despite some slips or falling down, this particular living entity still grabs at least one toehold in this 5% bracket and keeps crawling up into the same 5% bracket so that he or she may become self realized, liberated from repeated birth and death, and finally gets delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have been trying to discuss about several case histories of living entities who belong to either the 20% or the 5% category of human living entities in this society in a lifetime in the material world. However, we have refrained to take any case history from the 75% mundane, trance like, normal, common man human living entities because we will not be able to understand or acknowledge or respect the way their own individual mind works. We all know that the mind is the driving instrument behind the chariot called the human living entity. The mundane type of human living entities do not have any special kind of a mind in their own psyche which deserves to sing paeans about. However, among the 20% dark negative forces and living entities belonging to that category, we have been trying to discuss the case histories of various individuals whose mind works in a particular direction which is new to those who want to be positive, material, and spiritual. The minds of these who are attracted to the dark, negative forces are intriguing, curiosity ridden, shocking, and a type which gives some knowledge to every student of spiritualism, including you and I. In this process, we chose one particular human living entity called Daud Ibrahim Kaskar and used his lifetime as an axis around which other living entities who are similar to him and were attracted to the dark negative forces acted and reacted. This gave us a fairly good idea of how the mind of these careless, indifferent, cruel, sadistic, conniving, and totally negative individual human living entities reacted or acted to the circumstances provided to them by this very material world in a particular lifetime. We have been doing several episodes pertaining to the life of the same Daud Ibrahim Kaskar and his cronies while discussing the mind of every human living entity attracted to the dark negative forces. We know by now that Daud, after winning his own turf war with the Pathan gang, relocated to a country called Dubai in Middle East, from where he started working on or ruling his own empire of underworld in the city of Mumbai, which is the commercial capital of the state of Maharashtra in India. In that process, he came in touch with several Hindu gangsters who had either their own gangs or who worked as associates with the same Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar. Dawood is a Muslim by birth. His father was a constable in the Nagpada police station of Pakmudia Street in Mumbai. We all know that the commercially intelligent and focused Dawood was in touch with a network of unscrupulous commercial businessmen, a group of politicians, and a complete group of cops from the Mumbai underworld or the Mumbai governing body. This gave him a leverage over other Muslim or Hindu gangsters. When his turf war with the Muslim Pathan gang was over, or when it came to a climax, this man began having a complete set of associates from the Hindu gangsters who he used to look over his own empire in this material underworld of Bombay. In that process, inadvertently, he had to arbiter a particular tussle between one associate called Sharat Shetty and the other called Rama Naik. Thanks to his favoring Sharat Shetty, Dawood began locking horns with the same Rama Naik, who had his own notorious underworld called Bra Gang, consisting of B for a gangster called Babu Resham, R for himself Rama Naik, and A for Arun Gowli, another gangster. In the bloody, sanguine, and extremely treacherous gang war that followed, Daud was ably supported by two Hindu gangsters called Chota Rajan and Sunil Sawant alias Thotia. These people were as ruthlessly efficient as Dawood himself. Dawood gave the responsibility to kill the same Rama Naik who once was his own friend and associate. This is how the mind of these people who are attracted to the dark negative forces work or react. We as commoners cannot even imagine to harm any of our yesteryear's friends or associates. So is the case with the 5% bracket positive human living entities. We always think either positively or at least in a vegetative state, and we refrain from doing any harm to other people who are as innocent as us. But here, where we are dealing with the 20% of living entities, we find that these guys who were part of this bracket acted, reacted, thought, decided, and worked in a very sanguine, different way. In their case, it was a do or die situation. Usually, these people committed those sanguine crimes not because they liked it, because it was a cut and dried business where they had to do it to survive or to get killed by other more like minded gangsters or criminals in their bracket. Yes, it is true that Rama Naik was once an associate of Daud, but Daud Ibrahim Kaskar, a criminal that he was, could realize very soon that keeping Rama Naik alive in this material world would be mortally dangerous to his own life as well as to the lives of those who were party to his own gang of gangsters in this negative forced bracket of humanity. This is all I wanted to talk in this particular video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter and case history. Please give me your own expert views, thoughts, ideas, and opinions so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this very society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.